So one of the main jobs people talk about that's horrendous is when you need to replace your trailing arm, or you want to change the bushes in your trailing arm, which is in here. And what happens, there's two problems. One is that this bolt that goes all the way through rusts into the metal inner of the bush, and that means the bolt doesn't come out. But also on mine, it does that. So the rubber, completely gone. Crunchy, crunchy rust. So I've got some new arms. I'm going to try and get in here. What I'm probably going to have to do is saw through this bolt on both sides and try and sort it out that way. We then have the other one at the front here. That probably won't want to come out either, so that will probably want to be sawn out as well. So it's going to be a fun day ahead. Got both sides to do. So let's have a look at the tools I've got. So I've got two new arms. Yeah, I've gone for Starline. Probably not a great make. Well, I don't really. It's basically, it seems like it's only made by Euro Car Parts. Could be wrong, but I couldn't find it anywhere else other than sold at Euro Car Parts. These arms are really expensive. So this is the rubber one that goes at that back bit where I had all the rust. Obviously that's your front one. You can buy poly bushes for these. But obviously you still got the trouble of getting the arm out. Then you've got to press these bushes out, which have a metal inner. Got to try not to crack the aluminium arm. So these are really expensive. The cheapest I found on like eBay and stuff like that was about £200 each. I got them at Euro Car Parts both for 310. So a bit of a saving there. Hoping they're going to be alright. Yes, I use my car a little bit on track, but mainly it's my everyday car, so quite happy to stay with normal rubber bushings because it gives a little bit more compliance, especially when I've lowered it, running mice to shocks, roll bars and stuff like that. A little bit of flex in the bushes is probably quite a good idea. I thought about cutting my other ones off, then going through the hassle of changing these to nylon poly bushes or whatever. I haven't had that great success with poly bushes in the past, but maybe I just on the wrong car. And also that joint wears as well, so just for the ease I thought I'm going to cut it out. I'm just going to replace the whole arm. So that's what we're doing. I have borrowed a Sawzall in preparation for having to cut the bolts. Luckily a friend had one, so just went and bought some metal cutting discs or blades for that. And first of all I'm going to see if I can get the bolt out. Problem is I haven't got a very small impact driver. It's probably going to be a cut job straight away, but let's see how it goes. So I've printed this out from the internet, and obviously the bolts you need, and then I've just found out the full reference number. I'd already ordered some bolts last year when I was doing the rear subframes. So 28, so that's the front lower bolt. That's the one that goes into this bit on the front. Got two of those. I've got two of the 34s, which are the rear lower ones, which are going to go in there. So you've got like your cammed washer built into your bolt. And then I've got, I hope, I haven't got the reference numbers on these anymore, but I've got some nuts here. Yeah, so all good. So all new bolts, because pretty sure I'm going to have to cut them or they're going to be rusted and horrible and you're going to want to replace them anyway. So, and right, let's crack on. So this one under here with some leverage, as the nut has actually moved. Whether I can turn it again, yeah, it has moved. So hopefully I can get the nut off at least. So I managed to get the bottom nut off the rear lower arm, and obviously the washer I haven't got a replacement for, so I'm going to reuse this one. You obviously got to make sure it's got the little locking tabs in it, so when they do the caster camber, it's obviously still working, so they can set it up. So cool. Clean that up a little bit, put that back in. Should have a new nut, so can get rid of that one. So we're looking at this back lower arm. Got the lower nut and washer off. Hit the bolt, it's not moving at all. I'm going to have to try and hole saw it now. Hole saw it? Not hole saw it, reciprocal saw. Never done this before, never used one before, so this is going to be entertaining. Don't know if I'm making that much headway, and that is using up that blade. So I bought these blades, pack of 5 Bosch blades, long life, yeah right. So just completely blunting them, two blades, and haven't even got halfway through a bolt, so that ain't gonna work. So I looked up stainless cutting, because stainless is harder and harder to cut. This is for thick metal, Milwaukee carbide teeth. Let's see if we get a bit more action with this. Right, first go with the carbide bit. Let's see if we get any further. Pretty crazy. Wow, okay. That has gone through it, so don't know where the bit of the bolt's gone, flown off somewhere. Okay, buy the right tools, get the right results. So there's some space at the top there now. It's going to be a bit harder, I think, so I was able to cut this one right against the subframe, so it should pull everything out, whereas the top one, it's got this lip in. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it, but let's give it a go, see how we get on. It's good to stop and have a look, see what they might be cutting. Don't really know. So I'm just leaving the second cut on the rear bolt for now, because I'm struggling to get through it. Now I'm going to have a look at this front bolt. I can't seem to undo it by hand. Put a spanner on the other end, and I'm going to hit it with the impact gun, see if it moves. So that's the nut off, but obviously not the bolt out, but it's one part of the puzzle. It's a shame you can't, I could try and get the impact gun to the back of this one. Could be a bit tricky, probably have to use a flex impact joint. Not liking that. It's got the washer loose though. Good. Need to keep that. Oh, there's going to be another bolt we have to cut through. Joy. This is a fun job. So the bolt underneath, I was able just to put some hand leverage onto it with an extension, and that bolt has come undone. Gonna need to try and break that. Normally put the nut back on. Yep, joint's gone, that's good. That's probably the easiest bit. There we go. Already taken the bolt out of the shock. There's some pressure on the anti-roll bar links, which has been a bit of a pain, but I'll try and solve that in a minute. So we've just had some luck. I was able to finish off cutting through that bottom bolt there. Well, that was on the top. So I cut through it, got a chisel, and just knocked into the top of it, and it pinged out. So the next one I'm struggling, I can't get this bolt out. I might have to cut this one as well. What a nightmare. I'm going to try a bit more. I did get it turning very slightly, but I think the bolt's completely rusted into the tube, as was the back one. So yeah, this is probably one of the worst jobs. So I'm going to make this look like I've achieved it, and I've got the arm out but I haven't. I've just got frustrated and cut it to bits, and now I'm left with a bit I can't get out. But this is the bush that was completely gone. The center section just moves inside the bush, so completely knackered. Struggling, I've been trying to cut down here. Normal metal saw blades just blunt instantly. Just went and bought a bigger carbide one, and the problem is I can't get started on it, it's too thick, but maybe I can get to it from the bottom now. I've taken this other arm out of the way. Oh, this is not fun. Little update on the Hell. So this is not the nut end. So what I've actually had to do is grind down the bit that was on top, the bolt end, and then prise off where this is ribbed onto the end of the bolt. Really struggling, so I'm probably just gonna have to bend this bit of the subframe out a little bit to try and pop that end. Can't think of any other way of doing it. Really struggling to cut these bolts. Yeah, what a nightmare. I finally got it out. Just a massive rusted together awfulness. So I got both out now. Tidy a few things up and then put that back in. So let's get these bolts right. So for the front edge, for the front lower bolt, I need a 28. Middle number, the other number's the same, so it's 34 or 28. So I need a 28. There is a 28. That is a 34. That's a 34. So those two are 28s. I think the nuts are all the same. Yep. Cleaned up the washer. That front one, still need to do the back one actually. So the way these work is obviously you turn these in a hole and that gives you your camber caster, and the washer latches into there as well, so it mirrors it like that. So that's one set. That is the front one. So that's the front. Put that over there. We then need a 34, which is the back one. That also needs a nut, but it also needs a cleaned up washer, so I need to do that. So we're pretty much ready. Cleaned up that washer. Let's have a look at the arm. Nice and shiny. Right. I always think these are upside down because the ball joint on the end goes from in on the top rather than the bottom, which I've never experienced before. So all new rubbers in here. That's obviously how it's supposed to be, bonded into the rubber. All new rubbers, and then you get the ball end, that end. Weirdly, the other one had a nut and this one doesn't have a nut. That is strange. The other one's got a nut on it, unless it's in the bag. There we go. Right, okay, let's see how this goes. So obviously what's happening is when these are in here, even those ones, they're rusting into that, and then that's the problem, you can't get them out. So there isn't a lot you can do about it, but copperies. So it's the same I did on the back. You don't want it on the threads, and you don't want it on the nuts, because the nuts normally come off. It's the bolt being seized inside the tube that causes the issue. So a nice amount of copperies on those to try and help alignment and things in the future, because it can be a bit of a nightmare. So, right. So let's have a go. So, have I just messed up? No, I think that's the front one. That's the back one. The back one has a bigger head. So there's been lots of debate about how these bolts go in at the back. It seems on factory the bolt goes in from above. It seems on any other aftermarket diagram it makes it look like it goes in from below. But one of the guys had a good point that this is the main one that normally goes in the top, and that controls your setting. So you want to be able to hold that still and then do the nut up, whereas that'd be a lot harder on the top. The only thing they did say is you can't get these out through the top. Well, you can get these in and out, so that's not an issue. Right, okay, Oh, it'd be good if I put it in the right. It'd be good if I put it in the right way around. Right. This is all going to be a bit of a maze of things to do at the same time. Right. Okay. So, get this bolt. I'm going to put it in from the top. The only thing I haven't done is I haven't cleaned on top of the perch, so let me just clean that up. So it's clean on top there. At some point I want to refurbish these front subframes, but it's not happening today. Right, okay, so first bolt in from the top with the main washer pointing forward. As you can't see a lot, actually it may be easier to put the front one in first. The front one went in with the bolt head backwards, so at the back going forward, and with the washer, main washer bit pointing downwards. So then you also get the washer on the other side, you point that downwards, and do that, put the nut on, obviously not doing anything up at the moment, but just located that, and then hopefully it's going to make this one a little bit easier. Sorry, you're not going to be able to see much in the camera work, but what you've done, oh sorry, so we've got that bolt in down there. I've just popped the shock over the centre bit and popped the ball joint into this bit, and then I've got yet to put the nut into the back there. So that's what we're doing. Third time lucky. Let's see if we can get this bolt in. Maybe they're right, maybe you can't get it in from above. No, they're wrong, you can't get it in from above. Right, this is the old shock bolt. It is a mess. I'm going to reuse it, but I'm going to remember to put some copperies on it. That went in nice and easy. Able to get this bottom ball joint in. There's an Allen key socket in the bottom, and obviously hold it with an Allen key, get a wrench on it and do that up. I've then got the anti-roll bar link on. What I did, because obviously it'd be under pressure, is I put a pry bar up there, put pressure on the top of the roll bar to bring it down, and then got it into that bottom hole. So we're all up to date. So all we need to do now is nip up the shock bolt and nip up these two. What you want to do is you want to get these quite close to being done up, but don't ever do them up unless the car is on the ground, because it will fix where the bushing is, and then if you put it on the ground you'll be putting strain on the bushing straight away, whereas what you want to do is you want to do it up tight while it's on the ground, and then the bush is going sort of in its normal movement. Obviously I'm going to need alignment doing, but yeah, you just want to get it done up so it's safe. So some tips from my experience today. So reciprocal saw, really good for the back one. You've got enough space to get in there and it chops through that pretty easily, but there is a catch to that. This one, absolute friggin' nightmare. You saw the video. Basically had to grind the head of the bolt off, bend the subframe and kind of pull it out. Awful. So just so you don't waste lots of money like I did, so first of all I bought some Bosch metal saw blades, and they've turned into a pile of crap. So they didn't really do anything, they just burnt out instantly. The reason there's little ends is because they were used at the other end and then I cut them down to use them again. Rubbish, wouldn't buy. Next one was this carbide Milwaukee bit. It's like £23 or something horrendous. That still has cutting on it, and that's what I used to get through the back one here. It's the only thing that really touched it. That was really good. Then that was quite big and quite thick and I was struggling to get it in there, so I went down and I bought a Bosch Expert thick tough metal. The issue is, and you can see I bent it quite a few times, it was quite big. Maybe I should cut it down, and I couldn't get it really to start well. It was just pinging all over the place, so that one kind of failed a little bit. But this Milwaukee one, that's great. Get one of those, maybe search on the internet, get it cheaper. If they do a shorter one, get that as well, because you might be able to help you with that other front one. But standard metal blades, not going to touch it. You need carbide teeth.